Hi, I'm Kitty and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to show you how to make these beautiful modified right angle weave bracelets. The technique is really easy. It's perfect for a complete beginner or more advanced as well. Check out the description below for material list. However, towards the end of the video, I'm gonna go through it all as well as show you some other variations, and I'm gonna talk you to what other beads you can use if you haven't got exactly the same one as I have. But just look at those crystals, they're so sparkly. The way how we're going to make these bracelets, we're going to stitch together little units all the way down. Then we're going to come back on ourselves, adding more beads and then stitching the clasp to either side. And if you like the project, then do give a video a thumbs up so I know to design more jewelry and make more videos with this technique. Step 1, how to start. So leave the bobbin on or leave a very long tail because we'll need more thread later on. Pick up one crystal, one size 8, another crystal and another size 8, and I'm going to take these all the way down. I'm going to go through all 4 of these beads one more time to form my circle. Just 3 and just pop over the 4th one as well. Now I do not recommend to knot your tail end and your working end together right now, because if you create a knot here, that knot can seep into any one of those beads and it will block us to come through those beads later on. So to have a really nice and solid base, I'm gonna run around one more time. And then I'm going to carry on. Once I get to the tail, I'm going to carry on the first 2 beads. So the one crystal and the one size 8 bead the 3rd time to be away from my tail. So I can hold on to my beadwork just right, just like that. Step 2, you're going to pick up one size 11, one size 8, one crystal, one size 8, and as you're exiting out of this size 8 at the bottom, we're gonna go along, we're gonna go up and over, and we're gonna come down through this crystal. So I'm gonna come from the top towards me and I'm gonna pull this up. Then I have my second little unit just gonna sit right there, and then I'm gonna ignore this size 11 and just go through the size 8 towards the right hand side, and when I pull this tight, I'm in the same position what I was before. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to repeat, picking up one size 11, one size 8, one crystal, one size 8. Again, I'm going to go up and over, so I'm going to come through this very last crystal on my beadwork, but from the top towards the thread where I'm working from. And when I pull this up, my next little unit is just gonna come up and sit side by side. Again, I'm gonna ignore that size 11 and go through the size 8. Now carry on in this manner all the way down until you get your desired length. Just a note with the length that when we're going to come back and add the beads in on the other side, our bracelet will naturally get a little bit smaller. So add a couple of extra units on, but we will have an opportunity to add extra units before we add the clasp. So once you get down all the way to the other side, we're going to turn around and run up, adding the size 11 seed beads, what's missing on the top, the size 11s we already have at the bottom. So to do that, as I'm coming out of this last size 8 seed bead, I'm just going to go up in the crystal and I'm going to turn my bracelet. I'm going to go through the first size 8. Then I'm going to pick up one size 11 and go through the next size 8. Pick up another size 11, go through the next size 8 and all the way down until I get to the other end. So once you get down to the other side, adding all your size 11 seed beads in, what I meant about your bracelet is going to shrink. So especially if you kept a bit looser tension, have a look at this. When I pull this up, when I pull on my thread, can you see how much of that bracelet is gonna shrink, and an 8-inch bracelet now is just over 7 inch. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add another unit, probably another unit with the clasp will be the right size for me. So let's have a look at how to do that. So if you need to add 1, 2 or 3 more units, or as many units as you want really, this is how you need to do it. As you're coming out of the last seed bead here, the last size is seed bead, pick up your usual pattern, which is 1 size 11, 1 size 8, a crystal and another size 8, and we're going to do the same motion, going up and over, coming back down towards ourselves in that very last crystal. And I'm going to pull this up nice and tight. Then I'm going to pop along, ignore that size 11 and just go through this size 8. However, now on this side I am missing a seed bead, so I'm just going to turn around the corner. If you added more units, you're going to be missing more seed beads. I'm just going to go ahead, go through that one as well, and then pick up 1 size 11 and go through the next few seed beads. I like to go through more than a few just to keep it all together. Then I'm going to cross back over in the crystal and again come up through this last few seed beads, sewing everything together, and I'm ready to add the clasp here. So to add the clasp, we're going to pick up the following pattern. We're going to pick up 3 size 11 seed beads. We're going to pick up 1 size 8, another 2 size 11. We're going to go through the loop on the clasp. It doesn't matter actually which side of it you're adding first. I'm going to take these all the way down. Then I'm going to pick up another 2 size 11 seed beads, and as I was traveling this way with the thread, I'm going to come back towards the bracelet and go through that size 8 seed bead, and I'm going to pull this nice and tight. Then I'm going to pick up another 3 size 11 and quite simply just go into the size 8 and some of the beads all the way down towards the other side. Now I do like to circle back up, so I'm going to cross over one more time, go through the thread puff I created here to make this part stronger, and if I got extra thread left, then I will run all the way down on the bracelet and all the way up to make sure that either side is nice and straight. So at the moment this side is a little bit more pulled, straightened up, so I need to run down all the way on this side as well and pull it to the same tension so my bracelet won't be puckering. So once you reinforced your thread path where the clasp is, just keep going down through all of these size 11 and size 8 beads until you get down to the other side. So before I add the clasp, I just want to pull on my thread to make sure both of my sides are nice and even. I usually just sort of take my finger across it just to smooth the bracelet out. Then I'm going to place one finger at the end of the bracelet, and with the other hand I'm going to pull on this thread, and as you can see, this bracelet is just going to straighten right up. Then you're going to go ahead and add your clasp on the other side by picking up 3 size 11 seed bead, 1 size 8, 2 size 11, go through the loop on the clasp, then picking up another 2 size 11, and we're going to come back towards the bracelet through the size 8 seed bead. And then I'm going to pull this up nice and tight. I'm just going to trap that clasp on the end. I'm going to pick up 3 more size 11 seed bead and just come back through these beads on the side, and with that I have added both ends. Now I'm gonna cross over, I'm gonna go around, I'm gonna go up, and I'm gonna go around the clasp one more time to reinforce it, and then I'm gonna show you how to knot your threads off. If you have any thread left over, then do run up and down a couple of times just to strengthen your bracelet. So knotting your threads off, you got a couple of options. So here is my tail end. This thread is facing downwards towards the other side of the bracelet. So I can bring my working thread down and around so I'm meeting that thread from the other side. So I'm just going to go through these seed beads. I'm right at the top of the clasp. I'm going to go through the size 8, down through the 3 times size 11s, and just go past the tail. Then I'm gonna go through that size 8. Make sure you're coming out of a size 8 into the crystal and then up on this side until I meet the tail. And here I'm quite simply just gonna knot my tail and my thread together just with a square knot. So this is one option what you can do. Once you knotted it together, you do want to take your thread down a few more beads. Never cut your thread right next to the bead. So I'm just going to take it down a few more beads. Now the other option you have is to do a 1 thread knot, also called a half hitch knot, and I'm going to show you what that is exactly here. So half hitch knot is when you're coming out of a bead and I do want to catch the thread. I don't want to go through any bead, I just want to catch the thread between those two beads. So I'm going to go under those thread paths. I'm going to pull my thread through and you can see this little loop is forming. And before this loop would disappear, I'm just going to take my needle through that loop, and then when I'm pulling this up and tight, can you see the little knot is forming on the top of my thread? Then I would take my thread down through a few more beads and I would repeat the process one more time. Usually add a 2 or 3 1 thread knots or half hitch knot onto my beadwork. And I'm going to do another knot here. Now when you're doing a 1 thread knot, make sure that the knot itself, it doesn't, so we were exiting the bead here and the thread is just sort of jumped over that bead. So I want to make sure when I'm pulling it tight, the knot I'm going to be pulling is going to be right on top when I'm coming out of my bead. There we go. And then the knot just going to disappear inside that bead or right between the beads. I'm going to pull it through the next few beads and I'm ready to cut this thread off. Then I would add my needle to the tail end and repeat this process to how to stitch the thread off. And just before we go to the material list, let me show you these beautiful bracelets. This is double row modified right angle weave. So if you want to learn this technique, it's embellished on the top as well. Do let me know in the comments below, double row please, and I'm gonna go ahead and make the video for you. I'm always open for video requests, so do let me know in the comments if you have a particular make, a specific bead, or a technique you would like to see more videos on. There is loads of variations you can do for this stitch and it's really versatile because you can change things about and it's still gonna work. So you could add a lobster clasp or you can add a magnetic clasp like this to your any clasp you desire really. I love these magnetic clasps. You can change the sizes up, so if you go up in sizes in crystals, then you need to go up in sizes in seed beads as well. So for example, if you use like a 6x8 crystal rondelle, then you, instead of using the size 8, you would use a size 6 seed bead, and instead of using the size 11 you would use the size 8 seed bead there. But let's have a look at some other variations. Now on this version, this one I have used miracle beads. I really do love the design what you get with these beautiful beads, but here instead of picking up a seed bead, crystal seed bead, we are picking up a size 8 seed bead, miracle bead, miracle bead, miracle bead, and then coming through the miracle bead itself. In this version I have used 6mm pearls with 4mm check fire polished crystal beads, as well as some size 8 seed beads. You could go up in size, you could use 8mm pearls, but then you would have to make the check fire polished bigger as well. But it doesn't have to be a fire polished, it could be a bicone or any other bead, or it just could be another round bead if you like. And to show your love for the craft, share the video with a beady friend. Remember to turn the bell on so you get notified the next time I go live or release a video. I would love to see you in one of my lives, and that's a perfect opportunity for you to come along and ask a beady question and I will try my best to answer it for you. And just before you go, have a look at these videos for more beautiful makes.